Well, hello everybody, and today we're doing a very special director's commentary on this new project that we have been working on called The Sales Off.
Woo!
Episode 1 is released.
Woo!
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, go watch it now. The link will be in description and the link will be up on the card. If you don't
Do it.
do it now.
Do it now.
If you don't know me, I'm Aaron Carothers, and I'm being joined today by director and writer, Mr. Kaari McBride.
Yeah, and if you don't know him, you definitely don't know me. Because this is his channel.
Yeah, you've never seen him on this channel before. This is the
Seen me
very
before.
first time that you've ever seen him. I don't know why you wouldn't know me if you've watched this channel regularly.
Yeah.
But I guess for people that don't know, I guess, Kaari, if you want to give kind of a little bit of your background and just your role on the project.
I was born on a snowy night in December, all the way back in the year of our Lord, 1995. And then a bunch of other stuff happened, and now I'm here. I am the co-writer, co-director of The Sales Off. This is my first project with Aaron. I found the project on the Casting Call Club post that you made. I responded to the Casting Call Club post, and you accepted me. I'm going to take this and get rid of it. But you responded to the casting.
I'm doing the same with mine.
Whoa! Just out a window. Yes. You chose me for whatever reason. And I don't know, maybe you can get into that.
I remember why I chose you because the thing about, because it was done on Casting Call, the thing about Casting Call, what's great about it is that anybody can audition, but the con is that anybody can at the same time. And so
the Venn diagram of pros, it's just a circle.
Yeah.
The pros and cons are the same circle in the Venn diagram.
Yeah. So there were auditions that were a lot of people directing to their own, like just random stories that they wrote. But what Kaari did, and the reason why his posting really stood out to me, was because he took the time to really, I feel like he really took the time to look at the outline, and you really got an idea of what I was trying to do. Like, you just took that extra step to talk a bit about it and what you saw in the vision.
Wow.
And even in looking in
the post,
even in the other stuff that you went back and looked at the other stuff that I worked on for reference. Like, you just went the extra mile, and I knew, like, yeah, that's exactly who I want on it. I could tell.
We like to set the bar high around here. By looking up the person that we'd be working with and reading the thing that they wrote in the post that you're responding to.
Nobody else did.
That's called the Kaari guarantee. That's what that is. We'll do the absolute bare minimum. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Before that, I worked just kind of bouncing around from project to project. I've worked on a couple of independent things, like the Figments with the Sunflower Club.
That's right.
And, My Friend Fabian with the Lonely Bros. And now this. And look, don't tell anyone, but most proud of this. This is
wow.
I like this one the most. You're gonna have to bleep this part out because they can't hear. They can't know.
They can't know.
They can't know what I said.
Everybody leave.
This is pretty cool. Also, it has the fewest amount of people. No, I can probably say that. I feel like I can say that because this was just you and me. And like with the other projects, it's like there are like other people. Like, I feel like this is the most distilled, concentrated. It's just us. It's just us. There aren't any like other, like with the Figments, it was like 4 writers technically, even
Oh,
though there were
wow.
3. And I did write like the entire second act, but like, there are like other people that like, I feel like 2 people is a good amount of people to write. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is that, yeah, no, this has been my journey to this project.
Yeah, well, that's great. And I guess for those of you maybe who are, if you're newer to the channel, for a little bit of background on me,
You.
I've done animation for, I mean, I haven't always done it well, but I've dabbled in animation since, I think the first short film I made was when I was 9. It was in 2018. If there's any viewers here from the beginning, let me know. But that's when I started this channel. I tried all kinds of things. I did puppet skits and like comedy skits, video game essays, but the first big thing that I did was a project called Grimsy. That was in 2020, and that was kind of a relaunching point for me for animation. And so after that, I did this commission project that's called The Front Cartoon, and then that led me right up to The Sales Off, which was the next project that I just thought would be good to do next. It was something that I had in mind for some time, and I felt like it was finally time to tell the story. And that's when I realized I need help figuring out what the story is and writing it, and that's what led to meeting Kaari then. So I guess this is hard to do, and it's hard to do with only having episode 1, but is there a way we could describe The Sales Off? Like, what is it?
Yeah. It's the story of 2 guys. They're coworkers stuck in an office. I think we've all been there. We're at work, and there's always the one guy that's like not doing as much work as everyone else. And then there's the guy that's doing way too much work. And they just hate each other. There's one, Vincent, the blue dog standing behind you, is like, why am I the one? I have to do all the work around here because this guy's just slacking off. He's playing video games when he's supposed to be on the clock. And, it's just about the conflict of, these 2 opposing forces, the slacker versus the overachiever. It's a tale as old as time.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's it. There's nothing else that happens.
And that's it.
That's it.
So.
And yeah, and I feel that it's something that hopefully that a lot of you out there can relate to. And I know for me, I put a lot of experience of work into it, and it was weird. A lot of things that were happening at work I put into the story, and then things that happened in the story started happening at work, and it was kind of a weird relationship with that.
It's like the Goosebumps movie with Jack Black.
Yeah.
Write it into the script, and then it becomes
and it just happens. That's exactly what it felt like. Yeah, it was very weird. So I guess then that leads kind of right into what inspirations were there. And I know for me, like, the inspirations for the story early on were obviously like shows like BoJack Horseman, the style of that, I think having like the human and animal characters. I really like doing this sort of minimalist style. And really where this story began was with the characters. Because the characters that I had drawn, which were back... I remember I drew Vincent a few years ago. And I was trying to draw I was trying to make a cartoon dog character that I was trying to give it a unique spin. And I started experimenting with different shapes. Mm-hmm. And then Vincent just kind of showed up out of nowhere. And I didn't really know what to do with him yet. And then I also had Mr. Watterson and this other character that you'll see in the next episode. Or will you? Or will you see them?
You won't.
But I had them, and they were actually they're kind of based on Penn and Teller. And if you look at them, I think that you can't unsee it when you see it, that they do look very similar. Yeah, we'll pull up a picture of that in the edit. Editor Aaron put the picture in there.
Editor Aaron.
Oh yes, I am my own theme song. And so that's what it started with, really, these characters. And there were a lot of ideas back and forth of like what I wanted to do. They were going to be like on their own like talk show at first, I think.
Yeah.
And then they were going to be.
Do you have those like original documents?
I do.
Like,
it's quite different.
To go over. Yeah, we should tell that story at some point.
Yeah, at one point they were going to be in a school, I think. I was thinking about that.
Okay. Because I remember when I read the post, when I read that casting call club post, like, yeah, I thought, what did I think? I thought it was about a dog, like a non-anthropomorphic dog that was the owner. Because, you know, you had written a lot about like how like, oh, Vincent and Jake, they like save each other. Like Vincent or Jake Vincent saves Jake's life or Jake saves Vincent's life. And I was like, oh, it's about like a dog and his owner, and like, the dog, like something happens to the owner and the dog has to figure it out or like get revenge. Do you remember? What did I even write? Do you remember what
I think you compared it to like Secret Life of Pets, if I remember.
Yeah, probably, but like dark.
Yeah, and it was funny because when I read that, I thought you just meant like the tone of the story, but I didn't realize that the fact that they were like anthropomorphic didn't really come through. I maybe never even said it in the outline. And it was funny because when we first called, I remember there was that moment where it's like, oh, by the way, maybe I didn't make it clear. They aren't like pet animals. They're actually like walking, talking animals. And then it's like, oh, okay, I need to take a minute to think about this differently.
Yeah, no, that changed a lot. I'm actually kind of curious to see what I wrote to you initially.
Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Here it is. So you said about...
Oh boy. What day was this also? Like, how long has it been? Has it almost been 2 years?
This is November 13th.
Of what? Of last year?
Of last year.
Okay.
So it's been a long process.
Oh God, why?
You mentioned about something that relates to not just like families, but like adults specifically. Secret Life of Pets, cats and dogs were the two that you mentioned. And then you talked about like thematically and emotionally, it could be more profound. We could subvert some tropes.
Oh God.
And I mean, I'm just kind of paraphrasing.
Yeah.
This is kind of interesting. You said your thoughts immediately jump to a more existential comedy about a dog that needs to learn a lesson similar to It's a Wonderful Life, but more tailored to the precarious position our generations have been placed in. I think that's actually a really interesting description.
Precarious position? What the f*** was I talking about? Did someone die? What? Or maybe it was because I thought Jake was a human.
Yeah,
and...
Jake was a very different character in the beginning than he is now. I think he's the character that changed the most.
Yeah, if I remember, you had like punk rock emo Jake like at first, right?
Yeah.
Didn't we need to like redesign Jake?
Yeah, I'll show a picture of him. He was very different, as you can see. He was like pink hair, he had like an earring, and yeah, he was just going to be a completely different character.
Was smoking?
Yeah, he was smoking a cigarette. And he was made actually separately.
Cool.
He was all cool. He was made separately from the sales off. Like, he was I kind of threw him into the group because I didn't really know what to do with this character. And he had a very small role to where it was more just an interaction that Vincent had.
Go on.
It was more of like just he had his own little story, but he wasn't really involved very heavily with Vincent. But I believe it was Kaari's idea then to bring Jake more into the story to kind of be counter to Vincent in ways.
True.
Because that really changed it, because we were having trouble with... Vincent was tricky because, and I always had trouble with Vincent in the sense that he's kind of cynical and a little grumpy, and for the main character, he needed something to bounce off of that was kind of the opposite, being a bit brighter, bouncier, youthful. Because it was like how I always struggled with how to handle his arc, Vincent's arc. Um,
Right.
so
And that's like straight out of BoJack,
yeah,
right? Yeah, BoJack, you got to give him a Todd.
yeah, yeah. Vincent needed a Todd, exactly, and that I believe was Kari's idea, and that's when we both looked at Jake and thought this doesn't really fit the new look or the new feel and like the new personality that Jake has because we switched it around, and so I decided to go back to the drawing board and redesign
Literally.
him. Yeah, literally went back and was like drawing different, like looking at pictures of deer and trying to simplify their shapes to fit into the style because there is a certain style with it, with simple
There really is.
shapes. The eyes are a very specific way, and that version of Jake was there's. I don't think there's a single
He
thing
was
that.
too cool.
Yeah, there wasn't a single thing that fit the style. He was different.
And I think even that was after, like, because the original, like before we kind of settled on something, and I think this was before we really introduced Jake as a prominent character. Like we had like another thing where it was like sorry to bother you, like where we had the sales aspect of it, but it was like he's like really good at sales, and then he meets someone who like gets him to question that, and like that was like just a voice over the phone that he
That's
maybe
right.
met like later.
I forgot
Um,
about that. And there might have even we were pondering a romance story with the
yeah,
phone, or like a subversion of that.
it's like not a romance, but it
Yeah,
does like still cause him to like grow and realize like okay maybe this isn't what I want,
yeah.
and
That
then
it's very
something
different.
happened and we gave up on it. And then Jake showed up I guess, and then but we arrived at something better.
And I think as a tip, I think for
Hmm.
people that are making stuff like this, um, you do kind of you have to be willing. I mean, you want to be strong in your vision for the project, but you really have to be willing for things to change, and you can't have an ego about like, oh, this is the exactly like this. My concept is perfect. My first draft is perfect for it.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to let it change and let people collaborate and bring their vision to it, and still directing it and centering it to a specific course of direction, but being open to changing things where they need to be changed, ultimately
Yeah.
for the better.
Yeah. I think like if your first draft is perfect, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah,
Because the whole point of the first draft is that there will be a second draft.
yeah,
And the second draft should be better than the first draft. If there's like nothing to improve upon in your first draft, it's like what are you doing?
yeah, exactly.
How is that possible? Unless you're like Darren Aronofsky writing Mother in like 7 days or whatever.
Yeah, and just I don't know how people do that. You can just whip out a script that
That's
quickly.
like, all right, that was a first draft. That was a pretty good first draft. Maybe he could have made it better if he gave it another shot, but I don't know. Anyway, yeah, no, I concur.
And I don't know if it was the same kind of experience for you, but I remember just the aspect of work and what was going on at my job, because at the time I worked at a fast food restaurant, which will remain nameless.
Oh, you can guess.
You could guess pretty
Trust me,
easily.
you know it. Let's just say he was not loving it.
That's really what shaped the story, because that's really what, for me, what gave me a new sense of direction, because I was trying all those things of like the talk show and maybe Vincent's going to school. And I found it difficult to relate to the character at the state that he was. And then I started that job and I realized I need to pour this into it and my kind of experience into it and make this a story about the workforce and like working with corporations and that kind of thing. And for me, what was very odd was through that process, I started out with a character like Mr. Watterson, who I was writing from the perspective of just like a crew member,
Hmm.
thinking about, management, like what that would
Hmm.
be like. And
And
then,
then,
and
like
then,
magic.
yeah, for whatever reason, I become a manager. And now I feel like Mr. Watterson. And then some of
Uh-oh.
that went into Watterson. And so it
What
was a
kind of
weird,
synecdoche New York bullshit is this?
yeah, it was a very bizarre, like I said before, the story started happening in real life for me in a way. And I put a lot of that, and I don't know if was it the same for you with like putting work experiences into it.
A little bit. I was gonna say we should have ended it with everyone getting $1 million. But no, yeah, I remember blacking out on my way to work that one time. That influenced me a
Yeah.
little bit. I think, I mean, if I well, yeah, no, that was a whole thing. Geez, do I even want to talk about? Even want to talk about that? So I don't know if you remember that, like, like when we started this, I was in San Diego, and then I moved to LA,
That's
and
right.
and yeah, like I was up here, and I had no money. I had $0, and and I had just gotten a new job, and I was going to the job, but like the the staffing there was really, really inconsistent. So there were times when basically there were like 5 people. Like it's like the front of house had like nothing. They had no one there. So I had to. I mean, I didn't have to, but I did because I didn't have any money, um, and I wanted money. So I don't know. I think it was probably a mix of like just being a little overworked. I got a lot of overtime, um, being a little overworked, not eating very well because I didn't have any money. I'd have like flour tortillas and a cup of coffee, the breakfast of champions, and also coincidentally the lunch and dinner of champions. And then
Mm.
and I don't know, yeah, like I missed a bus, so I had to get on the train, and then I got off the train to get on the bus. No, I didn't. Wait, why did I get on the train? I got on the train. I hate getting on the train. And then I got off the train, but then I had to get on a bus anyway because the train doesn't take you to the workplace. Anyway, the point is, I ran up a bunch of stairs and I felt like I was going to die.
Hmm.
And then I whited, like it wasn't like a blackout. It was like everything got really white. I like dropped my phone. I couldn't see anything. And one of my coworkers saw me just like what? Because he saw me. I dropped my phone. He picked up my phone and gave it to me. And he was like, "Is this your phone?" And I was like, "I can't see anything. Like maybe it's my phone. I'll take it. We'll just figure it out later, I guess." And then he went and got me some water. And I was like, "Wow, work sucks." Also, has anyone ever told a story about how bad work is? Because I feel like we might be onto something here. Um, and this was also like around the time of a lot of people talking about the Great Resignation,
Hmm.
um, and how the pandemic has like given people a different lease on like, hey, my time might actually be worth something. Maybe I should care more about how much work I'm doing, and what kind of work I'm doing, and like doing something that I care about instead of something that I have to do only because I need money. So I think like just that experience, and it's also like I didn't know it was going. Like, wouldn't it suck if I just died? Like, wouldn't it suck if I just died there? And it was like, damn, well that sucks.
Yeah,
I didn't get to do anything.
and that totally makes you breathe. It just puts it in a new perspective.
I wouldn't be happy with that. And then I went to work and I just worked the rest of my shift. Like,
Like nothing happened. Like I didn't
yeah,
all just die.
I like blacked out on the way here. Anyway,
Wow.
so I don't know. Yeah, I guess like that idea of like I think that's where like the core theme of passion and work and like what work takes away from your ability to pursue your actual dreams. Then I assume at some point after that, I went to you and I went, Aaron, you'll never believe what happened to me.
Yeah, I remember. It was
history.
Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us today in our discussion about the inspirations behind the Sales Off. And this is just one part of our full commentary on it. Stay tuned for next time as we talk more about the script, the process of auditioning and finding our all-star cast, as well as some of the technical aspects behind the animation. Links to the Sales Off and both Kaari and I's socials are in the description below. Go check that out. And as always, I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.